Hi, Year 9, Mr. Tapler here to take you through the next lesson of Year 9 Humanities. This lesson is an important one because I'll be introducing the World War I DEV and the CAT that we'll be looking at this term. You don't need to freak out, you don't need to stress because we're not actually really starting research and planning on it until next week. This week really we're just introducing it so you guys have a bit of a heads up as to what's happening over the next couple of weeks, and then the CAT will actually be in week 5. So next week's week 4, a lot of research and planning, and the DEV, and then week 5 will be sitting the CAT. So I'll go through the lesson plan and compass, Google Classroom, and walk you through a couple of other resources that should help you out this lesson. So our learning intention, this lesson is to develop our understanding of historical essay writing skills and the instructions for the upcoming DEV and CAT. Success criteria. Select one of the World War I essay topic options and begin initial planning and research for the CAT. Lesson activities, watch the link below, eventually read through the class slides. This lesson, all you will be doing is recording in your digital notebook 1. What is your essay topic? 2. Several topics or ideas or arguments that you may discuss in your essay. So if you're doing the essay topic on causes of World War I, what are some of the topics you could talk about in that essay? And then the final thing you'll be adding is a couple of resources, so a couple of websites, names of a couple of books, writing that into your digital notebook, just so that by the end of this lesson I know that 1, you've picked an essay topic, and 2, you have some idea, some understanding, starting to get a bit of an idea as to what you will talk about next week and the week after in your CAT. But yeah, I'll talk you through the slides, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me or leave a comment in Google Classroom. Alright then, so that's just what I've just been over in Compass. Next slide. Alright then, so the major assessment for this World War I unit is a historical essay. Before I get 100 emails and questions about this, the word limit is 400 to 500 words, so it needs to be approximately 400 to 500 words. That little 10% there, you guys will see that when you get into university and start doing essays in uni, because that was the bane of Mr. Taffley's existence. That means that you can go 10% over, so 10% plus, or 10% under the word limit, and you'll still be fine. So 400 to 500 words, plus or minus 10%. So you can make a really, really, really good essay with slightly less than 400 words. On the other hand, you can also have not enough information. With 500 plus words, you can have an outstanding essay, or you might have just gone into Wikipedia and copy and pasted lots and lots and lots of information. So anyway, so 400, 500 words, around there is going to be your word limit. You'll be structuring that with an introduction, 3 body paragraphs, so 3 arguments in your essay, or 3 topics, whatever you want to call it, and then a conclusion. So if you guys are looking at 400, 500 words and thinking that's not really a lot, that is correct. It's not that much. And if you're looking at it thinking, holy crap, that's the longest thing I've ever written in my life, don't freak out, because really once you've written your introduction, which is going to be a couple of sentences, 2 to 4 I'd say, once you've written your conclusion, that's another 2 to 4 sentences. Each of your body paragraphs has teal in it. Once you've done everything you need just for the bare structure of your essay, you'll be surprised how quickly that word limit goes through. So don't freak out about the word limit, is my first piece of advice I'll be offering you. As part of your preparation for this CAT, instead of just giving you a blank piece of paper and saying go write an essay, we're going to do a bit of planning, a bit of preparation, take you through it one step at a time. So as part of your preparation for this CAT, you will need to complete an essay plan and a research grid. The CAT and the research grid will be digital, so that was probably going to be the second question asked. Are we writing this by hand or are we submitting it online? The CAT will be digital, so you'll be typing that up. The research grid will be digital, and I'll talk about what that is in a moment. However, just to make sure you guys have still got both your hands and you still remember how to write in the English language, the essay plan needs to be handwritten, and I'll show you what all 3 of those documents look like in a moment. So in terms of the timeline, you'll be provided 3 to 4 lessons, so 1 week to prepare your essay plan, your research grid. So at the end of week 4, you will hand in your finished essay plan and research grid. I'll be able to mark it over the weekend, give you some feedback. The essay plan and the research grid, those two items are your DEV. They're your DEV task. That'll be submitted week 4, end of week 4, and then the CAT will be completed over 2 lessons in week 5. So both of my Year 9 classes, conveniently, have a double period on Wednesday. So you guys will be sitting your CAT next Wednesday. And yeah, you'll be submitting that online to Google Classroom. So how that will work is on next Wednesday. I should get a calendar out so I actually know the dates. I will open up the learning task. I can schedule that learning task in Google Classroom so that you can't submit the file before then, and then I will shut the learning task at the end of the day. So you have time to, it's not something where you have to sit down and start frantically typing at 9 a.m. on Wednesday. You're absolutely able to complete the CAT before then, but I'm just letting you know that the assignment needs to be submitted on that Wednesday. But anyway, we'll talk more about that when we get closer to the date, and I'm sure I've got 100 questions and I'll answer those questions. Email, comments in Classroom, or I'll talk about it in the next video probably. So that's the basic information for your CAT. So, next question is probably, what are the topics? What do I get to talk about? In years previously, we've had 1 or 2 or 3 topics. We didn't think that really gave enough variety, enough options for people, especially people who didn't really understand one of the 3 topics, or they didn't enjoy one of the 3 topics. Nothing worse than having to write about something you hate. So we're giving you 5 lucky topics this year to talk about, all related to World War I. You'll notice that most of them are related to what I've gotten you to write down in your summary sheet the previous lesson. It's not a coincidence. So I'll walk you through these 5 topics so you have a better understanding of what your options are for this CAT. So topic number 1, to what extent did Europe stumble into a war in 1914? Discuss. So this topic is examining whether or not World War I could have been avoided, or were the causes of World War I so significant that war was inevitable? It was always going to happen. So you could rewrite topic 1 there to say, could World War I have been avoided? Yes or no? Or maybe. So that's what you would talk about in essay 1. So you'd be looking at the causes of World War I and whether or not we could have avoided the war. Topic 2, to what extent were alliances the most significant cause of World War I? Discuss. So you'll obviously be looking at the World War I cause of alliances in this essay topic. Couple of options for this one. You could examine the alliances in a lot of detail over 3 different arguments and talk about why they contributed to World War I. Or in years past, what people have done is with their 3 argument paragraphs, they've looked at 3 different causes of World War I, so alliances was one of them, and then they've compared it to 2 other causes of World War I, saying like, well, alliances were important, but this was more important. Or these causes were okay, but alliances was clearly the biggest cause of World War I. So that's what you're talking about in essay topic 2. Essay topic 3, getting back to some Australia. Although the Gallipoli campaign was considered a military failure, it was important in helping to shape Australia's national identity. So topic number 3, you're looking at Australian involvement in the war. Specifically, you're looking at Gallipoli. So here you can talk about the battles that happened in Gallipoli, you can talk about the casualties that occurred, the end result, how it was a military failure, and talk about why we celebrate war, why we commemorate war. So you could look at the Shrine of Remembrance, you could talk about the spirit of the Anzac. So Australian involvement in World War I, that's probably topic 3. Boop. Topic number 4. If you guys remember way back to the end of term 1, we did some work on propaganda, and I got you guys to create your own propaganda poster, which was a fun little activity that some of us had time to do before we all got coronavirus. But anyway, topic 4 looks at propaganda. So identify and describe the messages and techniques used in propaganda to influence the conscription debate. So conscription was getting people to join the army. So what you're doing in this essay topic is basically, we've got 3 body paragraphs, 3 argument paragraphs, and you're looking at 3 propaganda sources. So they can be posters, they can be little pamphlets, they can be pictures, whatever you find, basically. So in the past, people have looked at 3 different propaganda posters for World War I, and then basically each argument paragraph, they talk about, this is what this poster does, this is why this poster is persuading you to join the war, this is how it's doing it. So you're looking at basically 3 specific examples of propaganda and how they would be influencing conscription in World War One. And then finally, the final topic there, World War One is referred to as the Great War, before World War Two was a thing. What about World War One warfare was so significant and so impactful? So World War One, topic 5, you're looking at the actual events of the war. So you're looking at the warfare and the overall impact of World War One. So you could talk about trench warfare, why that was such a significant thing. You could talk about the chemical weapons and the new technology that was created during this war, which made it such a great war. You could talk about the casualties, impact on the home front. So obviously this Great War, World War One, it influenced life in Australia. We brought women into the workforce. It influenced our relationship with Indigenous Australians and Asian Australians, immigrants at the time, and also the impact on future conflicts. So we just looked at the Versailles Treaty and the end of World War One and how that connects to World War Two. You could talk about that in topic 5. A lot of information, I know. I'm trying to give it to you as briefly as possible, which is why, again, we're breaking this up into step by step by step, as opposed to saying, here's all the information in the world, go do essay stuff. Especially with you guys at home without your classmates, without myself there to give you a helping hand. So I'm presenting the information to you the best I can. If you have any questions or anything I could do to really help you out better, please let me know. But yeah, so those are the 5 essay topics that you can choose for your CAT. A bit more information about the CAT itself. So these slides will attempt to offer a step-by-step set of instructions for students to help plan their essay prep over the next several weeks. Now, before I get into that, I would like to stress that this is the next several weeks. If you guys remember back to your lesson plan, all I want you to do this lesson is pick a topic, put some ideas and arguments that you might discuss in your essay in your digital notebook, and find a couple of resources you could use for research evidence. So the first one you could do would obviously be going to the textbook and saying, alright, well, I'm doing this topic, chapter 20.8 has my topic in it, I'm going to write that in my digital notebook. Mr. Tepley, I'm going to go look at this later on when we do research for my CAT. So that's all you're doing this lesson. These next couple of slides are a step-by-step plan for the next couple of weeks. So don't freak out and be like, oh crap, I have to do all this lesson. No. This is really all you're doing, is number 1 here, selecting an essay topic. So using the summary notes you made, previous lesson, the slides, the textbook, identify the topic you feel comfortable and confident writing about, or maybe just a topic you find interesting. So that's all we're doing today, is question 1. But for those of you that do want a bit of information about the CAT, you can keep listening to my silly voice, and I'll go through these next 2 slides very quickly. So after selecting your essay topic, probably first lesson next week, or you can do a bit of research over the weekend if you'd like, complete the essay plan. So the essay planning docket is going to be available in Compass Resources at Google Classroom. I haven't put it there yet, and I won't do it until our next lesson, because I don't want you guys to start it before you're ready for it, before you've been given enough information and instructions about it. I don't want this to be a 40-minute video where I go through every step. But yeah, so I'll put that in Compass and Google Classroom later off. The essay plan you'll be doing by hand. Everything else is typed up, it's just the essay plan you'll be doing by hand. So you can print it off, or you can just copy the template into a piece of paper in your notebook or something. Essay plan requires you to outline your contentions, your introduction. So do you agree or disagree with your essay topic? Main arguments, so 3 body paragraphs, and your conclusion. And I'm sure you've seen this in English, I've certainly seen this in year 8 Humanities. Your body paragraphs will need to demonstrate teal. So that essay plan, I'll just bring it up very quickly, looks something like this. So you can see you've got your introduction there, so your contention, what is your argument, do you agree or disagree with your essay question, you've got your 1, 2, 3 body paragraphs, teal, T-E-E-L, oh, that was hard, and your conclusion. So this you'll be writing out by hand, or you'll be printing off and completing by hand, and that would be step 2. So completing your essay plan. And I'll talk about the essay plan in more detail in the next lesson we have. This is just a brief overview of what you'll be doing in the CAT in general. Step 3, complete the research grid. The research grid will be available once we get up to it in Compass and Google Classroom. In this document, you'll be recording evidence of the research you've completed for your historical essay. So, just to encourage you guys to do a bit of research for your essay,
the essay plan, so this, and the research grid, they will be your DEV, so they will be part of your final grade for World War I history. Submitting these two files together, that's your DEV task, and then the actual written essay, or the final essay that you type up, that'll be your CAT. So this research grid here, after you've completed your essay plan, said these are my 3 arguments I'm using, we just want you to find more research, more evidence, more information, statistics, quotes, examples, etc. to make your essay go from good to very good, from very good to excellent. You know, the next step in historical writing is really going from having 1 source of evidence to 2, to 3, to 4, to etc. So what you're doing in this research grid, this first one here is just a little example I've completed. The research grid, again, you can type this one up. All you have to do is find a source, so that could be a website, it could be a book, it could be a picture. You can see here I've got a written source that I've stolen off the Shrine of Remembrance website, so the shrineofremembrance.org. Justification for why this source is useful, why it's relevant, why it's reliable. I haven't just gotten this from some dodgy site like bigbobshouseofhistory.com or something. It's a legitimate website that has a connection to World War I. And then I'm trying to get around 3 to 4 pieces of information out of that resource. So this little grid here you'll be completing for 3 or 4 different resources. You need at least 3 or 4 resources to write a really good historical essay. And then type in the source, why is it useful, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 different ideas, 4 different facts or quotes or statistics you've gotten out of that resource. So that would be step 3 of your CAT, the research grid. Step 4 is then using the research grid, using your essay plan to improve your essay. The other thing we've got there is support resources. So I've got an entire PowerPoint on how to write a historical essay. I've got an entire list of websites that'll be helpful for each of those topics. So I'll be giving you guys that resources later in the week when we get closer to the CAT date. Again, I just don't want to overload you with all this information starting out. So using those resources, you'll hopefully be able to improve your plan, improve your grid, which will be assessed as your DEV, and then finally we'll be completing the CAT. Instructions around the due date for the CAT will be provided later in the term. If you have any questions before then, please let me know, but do keep in mind that I will be answering those questions, hopefully, in future videos, in future lessons. So I think that's all I wanted to go over for today. Just a reminder that, again, you're not doing all of this today. All you're doing today, your essay topic, several topics or arguments or ideas that you would discuss in your essay, and then several resources that you'll be using for research evidence. So that's what you'll be doing in your digital notebook. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, good luck guys, and cheers.